Hello Virgo, welcome to this reading. We're going to be taking a look at the energies and predictions for the sign of Virgo for the end of November. Now, do keep in mind that this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and feel free to check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. All right, Virgo, let's go ahead and get into this reading here for you, where we will indeed be taking a look at this final portion of the month. Timeline on this reading is from November 24th all the way until December 4th. The reason I chose December 4th is that is the full moon in Gemini. So, see what's coming to a close for you here as we close out this month of November. With that said, we'll go ahead and get all of the cards out, get everything set up and in view, and then we'll get right into it for you. Okay. And I think that's looking just about good enough to me. All right. Energy on the bottom, you do have the Nine of Cups. All right, so Nine of Cups, like to see this for you. This is the fulfillment of a wish, usually in the tarot, or it can indicate that you are on the horizon, or that is on the horizon for you, right? Where you may be fulfilling some sort of significant wish, dream, or goal that you have in your life. Now, on a different level, this may mean that you are kind of like in a period right now where you are experiencing some personal bliss in life, right? When I look at the nines in the tarot, nines usually are about you, right? Nines don't connect to other people in your life, but they're about you. It's more of an independent number, and you can see that this person here, it has their arms folded over, they've got a confident look on their face, all nine cups are upright, full, and they have achieved something that they are proud of, right? So it can be this idea of like, so the Nine of Cups can mean that you're experiencing some sort of personal bliss in life or happiness as well. I also like to say it can be like being in the now or being in the moment as well, like trying to enjoy what you have right here, right now, you know, being aware of when your mind is too far in the future or too far behind, and bringing it back to center as well. So let's go ahead and Virgo, let's see what else we have here for you. Now, I definitely like what I see. Let me just double check. We do have 777. Okay, so we do have an angel number here, 777. For me, that's a number that quite literally is a very spiritual number. Okay, so when you see 777, you may be experiencing spiritual upgrades, or you may be experiencing an uptick in additional synchronicities outside of just seeing 777. It could mean that you are getting messages from your spirit team, from your spirit guide. I would pay attention to this number. You may see this number on a license plate, on on your receipt when you're at the grocery store, or whatever the case may be. Okay, and I would pay attention to that. You can even do some research on this number as well. So I definitely get a sense that some of you are feeling quite spiritual at this time. I think some of you are trying to connect with whatever you resonate with, whether that's God or that's the universe or your spirit team. I'm a spirit guides person myself, and looking for some answers there. Now, right away in the middle, you do have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so the Seven of Pentacles, this talks about your long range or your long-term money goals in life. All right, so this person here has built a harvest for themselves, and they're now thinking about what to do with it. Like, where are they going to go next with it? They're contemplating kind of next steps as it relates to long range or long-term goals, money, usually connected to money. So this would be something like, okay, am I going to keep the house or am I going to sell the house? You know, am I going to, maybe is it time for me to like sell the house and, get a condo, or is it time for me to like, opposite, am I going to sell a condo and get a house? Something like this here. Some of you are maybe thinking, aiming down retirement, staring it right down and looking at something like that. And maybe others of you are thinking, you know what, maybe it's time for me to think about putting something in retirement. These types of things, right? These are just some examples, but these long-term ideas here are maybe what is going through your mind right now as I look at this Seven of Pentacles. And I do see that there's a pretty nice energy connected to that here as you have the Three of Wands. We'll get into that more as we go along. So in the first column, you do have the Moon, the Queen of Cups, and the Seven of Swords. All right, so the moon, this is something that you are in the dark around. This is something that's hidden. Okay, it's usually not visible. in life, okay? This could be a person you didn't know about. This could be a problem you didn't see, or something that wasn't said to you. This could be, even the ideas of like secrets or anything like that here, particularly if you have the High Priestess with it, which you don't. But with that, the unknown could drum up some feelings of like fear and anxiety, because this card is associated with fear and anxiety here. Virgo. Now, I should note here that in this spread that I'm doing, this first column is the past. Okay, I'm looking at this first column as the past, and middle column, present situation, and the final column here is the future. So I do think that there was something that wasn't exactly visible to you here in the past, and I have to say that as the moon here is with the Seven of Swords, there may have been a situation with somebody where you felt like you were slighted or cheated in some way. Maybe not cheated on, but you were backstabbed. Okay, can happen here with the Seven of Swords and the moon. Okay, so like here's the thing. Let me just spin the cards around because it's bothering me. So here's the thing. I will say with the moon and the Seven of Swords, you have the Queen of Cups in between this. Could there have been another person involved? Right? Could there have been somebody, like if you're here for relationships, was there somebody that you didn't know about? That's possible, okay? Now, that may not apply to everybody, but there could have been another person that was in the picture that you didn't know about. Now, this is in the past, okay? This is in the past, so if that didn't happen, then it's not showing up in the current or the future, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, what also could have happened here is... the reason I'm getting a negative vibe from this Queen of Cups is because of the cards above and below it, right? So the Queen of Cups is, in its negative form, can be emotionally manipulative. This can be somebody who's a gossiper, okay, Virgo? This could be somebody who's a gossiper. So there may have been somebody that you trusted with some information, and they had some like loose lips, so to speak. They, in fact, did not hold on to the information that you trusted them with here. Okay, that's possible. Because with the Seven of Swords, it can be this idea of being blindsided in life, especially as you have the moon with it here, which is, again, an energy of like not being able to see or a hidden energy. Okay, so there's something that's going on here with this Queen of Cups that is a little gnarly. We'll go ahead and we'll see here, Virgo, what the details are on that as we go along. Now, in the middle here, you do have the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Three of Wands. All right, so first and foremost, the Seven of Cups, this is the idea of being overwhelmed by choice. Okay, you have a lot of choices in front of you. You have a lot of options. There are a lot of different paths to go. There are a lot of choices to make, decisions to make, these sorts of things, Virgo. And, with that Seven of Cups here, it may mean that you are feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I see that with the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups, you are really thinking about, I said this already, you're really thinking about next steps, but you're feeling overwhelmed by this. Like you see that there are so many different avenues that you could go down. There are so many different ways that you could go from here. And one of the things that I would, piece of advice that I would give you here as I look at this reading is, can you maybe create awareness that you are, if this is your reading, that you are actually in a really strong position? Like, I wonder if some of you are sort of like this idea of like making a mountain out of a molehill, right? And the reason I say that is because for me, clearly you have optionality. Yes, you're overwhelmed by the optionality, but you have options. You have choices. And this is kind of like what I'm thinking. Can you maybe is there an opportunity for you to create awareness around this situation? And, how can you create awareness? Meditation is a big one, especially as you have 777. Remember, there's a big difference between noticing a tree and noticing that you noticed a tree, right? There's a big difference between noticing a tree and noticing that you noticed a tree. Something to think about. Can you do some like exercise here to create awareness and, see what's maybe at the roots of this situation, Now, the other thing here that I love for you is the Three of Wands. Okay, the Three of Wands is growth and expansion in life. It's also adventure. You know, this person is a traveler. You can see the backpack on their back. They're looking at the airplane here. This is a card associated with travel, but it's also a card associated with partnerships and alliances. Okay, and as I see this Seven of Swords with this moon, and there's like a dicey situation here that's going on. Okay, what I'm thinking here is that you're probably going to end up going solo. Okay, I think that maybe you, and rightfully so, are experiencing something connected to trust. Okay, experiencing something connected to trust, and maybe there are some like trust issues here, and it's sort of like, you're like, I'm not coming at you, like you have every right to feel this way, because very clearly here somebody has betrayed you. Okay, it's this Queen of Cups. Okay, and I think that you're looking at your partnerships and your allies in life. I think you're looking at the people around you, and you're saying like, okay, some of these people can stay, some of these people might have to go for me. But I see that you are really in this period of growth and expansion, particularly as you have as you look at you look down the lens of your long-term options here, okay? And I'm liking what I'm seeing here for you with this Three of Wands. So let's go ahead and let's get to the final column here. You have the Star, the Queen of Wands, and the Six of Swords. Star, Queen of Wands, and Six of Swords. All right, so I've been waiting to get to this point, but you have both of the major wish fulfillment cards in the tarot. The Nine of Cups and the Star. The Star is even a greater wish in life. A larger, greater, broader wish in life that could be arriving for you here in the future. Now, this is showing up in the area of your mind or your thoughts in this upper row. So, kind of like one of the things here is, I think you've experienced a win with the Nine of Cups. You've seen something come in. And I think that you are ready for the next one, the bigger one. And so one of the things that I would say is like, in which direction are you pointing your arrow? Have you identified your true north at this time? Because I see questioning. Seven of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, contemplation, questioning. In what direction is your true north pointed? Or like, where is your true north in life? In what direction is your arrow pointed? Okay, because if you can get clear on that, the cards are saying that there's some really good stuff for you here in the future that wants to come forward. Okay, this is a spiritual reading. This is a reading that is deep in purpose for you. This is a time for you that's deep in purpose. And you're not worried about tomorrow. You're worried about something farther than that, right? Deeper, longer than that. Not just tomorrow, but further than that. And with the Six of Swords, ultimately, I see you making some transitions in life. And I think, again, this will be in pursuit of something pretty grand for yourself. A grand wish, a grand timeline, a grand vision. And I see you being very comfortable with where you're headed. Now, the Queen of Wands, I kind of skipped over this, but the Queen of Wands is essentially where I see you in the future here, Virgo. The Queen of Wands is somebody who is confident, who's bold, who's courageous, who's not afraid to attack anything that they're fearful of or anything that they're worried about. And this is also somebody who's radiating positivity and happiness as you see the sunflowers. Okay, so I think that this is kind of like ultimately where I see you here, Virgo. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look at let's move into the clarifications portion of this reading here. We're going to take a look at some of the oracle cards, and then we'll also move into the tarot cards for you. So, Virgo, absolutely loving what I'm seeing for you in the cards here at this time. But let me get one more card here. Okay. Now, energy on the bottom, you do have to look for a sign. You can't even make this up. So this card is quite literally like a card of synchronicities happening in life. Look for a sign. Look at this, right? And it's just all over the board for you here. 777, you've got the Star, you've got the Nine of Cups. It's all over here, So I would really like this idea of awareness is coming into my mind as being very important for you at this time. Pay attention, because the universe is trying to talk to you. You have success, big happy changes, and unlikely. This is really good. So the big happy changes card is essentially like one of the best cards in the Angel Answers Oracle deck. This is basically like the Sun card, okay? And I definitely see that this could be stacking up for you here, okay? Now, ultimately, I think the big happy change, the success, it comes around an event, or it comes around a time where you have to do something that is hard for you to do, right? And I think this may be involving the Queen of Cups person, okay, I think. Let's see what else, but we'll get more details on that. You have no need to worry, take action, and within the next few weeks. Okay, no need to worry, take action, and within the next few weeks. So let's expand on this even more here for you, Virgo. And put that there, and yeah, let's get even more details. Now, Virgo, do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I do hope things are going well for you. All right. Now, I'm going to be using the Galactic Star Tarot. This is actually the first series I'm using this deck. First time I'm using this deck. I actually bought it in New Zealand when I went to New Zealand and Australia. I think I like it. It's an interesting deck. Let me know what you think if you want to share. But anyway, we have the Death card here. We have Knight of Wands. And we have Three of Wands. Okay, so the first time I'm looking at this illustration. So Three of Wands again, right? So here, that's interesting, JFK International there. That is super interesting. But anyway, you can see that this person has like a scroll in their hand. They've taken a wand with them. They're headed to the airport. This obviously is symbolism for going in a really exciting direction and specifically expanding and growing into something that could be very amazing for you, right? And whatever happened here with the Seven of Swords, person, I think that you're done with this. I think that you're done with this person. You were rightfully upset. Like, whatever happened here, you spent all of the time thinking about and, processing the emotions. And now, you're not going to allow this to be a part of your story here. Now, again, the Three of Wands, it does connect to partnerships and alliances as well. And with the Seven of Swords, I think this is a confirmation, because I talked about how the Seven of Swords, I think, is connected to partnerships and alliances in some way. I do think something went wrong. I think something went wrong with you and a person that you trusted. And the Knight of Wands here with the Queen of Cups. I gotta say, you do have a lot of cards of travel here. Knight of Wands, Three of Wands twice, Six of Swords. Won't be everybody's story, but it is going to be somebody's story here in the future. But, the Knight of Wands, how do I look at this here? Usually I'm a fan of the Knight of Wands. It can indicate maybe that you're moving, your residence. It can indicate that, I always say that the Knight of Wands is somebody who's like living van life, right? They're doing van life. Like they're living an epic life. Like that's the goal of the Knight of Wands. In its detriment, this can be somebody who is quick to act. This can be somebody that gets around. Okay, this can be somebody that gets around. Okay, just to put it that way. And multiple partners, this sort of thing, which some of you here may have. Some of you may have experienced this with somebody, and regardless of all of that here, what I would say is, ultimately, this is an energy that you don't really want in your life anymore. I think that's ultimately what some of you are thinking about. This is somebody who likes to explore foreign cultures, foreign lands, distant shores, these sorts of things. When you get the Knight of Wands, but let's expand on this more as we go along. You have the Death card here, which indicates a significant transformation. So there was something that you were in the dark around, and this was pretty big. Okay, this was pretty big for you. This wasn't a small thing. You have the Nine of Wands, you have the Five of Swords, and you have the Ten of Cups in the middle here. All right, so Ten of Cups, total happiness in life. I love this for you. This is like the highest vibration of the suit of cups. Remember, this situation in the past, I think you fully transformed that into where you are now, which I think you've let that go. Okay, that's over. That's done. It's dead. It's gone. And I think it took some time, but you are really aligning yourself for something beautiful here, Virgo. This is one of the better readings I've seen for you in a while. With this 10 of Cups and the 3 of Wands, whatever you're expanding into, wherever you're going, because some of you are going somewhere, there's happiness on the other side of that. Okay, there is. And this may indicate like some family stuff here. Maybe you're looking to build your own family or expand your family, or if it's not that, maybe you're just expanding. You're expanding something here in some way, shape, or form. And ultimately, I think you'll feel really good about that. 5 of Swords, it indicates some sort of loss in your situation. Or defeat. It could just indicate defeat. Maybe some of you are realizing that you have to cut ties. And I think that's, like I said earlier here in this reading, ultimately I think this transition or this wish that wants to come in for you is around doing something difficult. It's coming after you do something difficult. It follows something difficult. And I definitely see that here. And for you, it just may be hard for it. For you personally, it may be hard for you to cut people off or say no to people. Something like this could be happening here for you. That's not an easy thing to do. I talk about that a lot in the readings, but I talk about how maybe you are cutting someone out. And I mention that a lot in the readings. But what I don't mention is it's actually kind of hard to do that. It's hard to do that, especially if you spend a lot of time with this person and so forth and so on. Now, with the 9 of Wands, this can indicate resistance, and it says that you're kind of in the trenches right now. You're in that last 5% stage. Things are hard. Things are getting hard, but it's in that 5% stage where you really grow. You're 95% of the way there. You're so close to completing something. You're so close to finishing the crossing the finish line. And I think that this, it may resonate with some of you here, especially as you have optionality. Remember, you have a lot of options here. So let's see what else we have. We have the Moon again, okay? The 3 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles. I ultimately think that there is this experience that you've gone through, maybe experiencing betrayal, experiencing loss for some people. Ultimately, I think you're taking something away from that. And I think what you're taking away from that is that you have a new confidence about you. Okay, there are going to be more people here in the future that show up, right? You see the 3 of Pentacles here, right? They are actually working together to create something, right? The idea of the 3 of Pentacles is your colleagues, it's other people that you work with. And as you have this Queen of Wands, I think ultimately in the future, you will run into other people, obviously, right? You may even need to start working with some new people. But you are approaching this from a place of experience now, right? At least from a place of new experience here. And, as you look at this 6 of Swords, the people on the boat, they are taking these 6 swords with them. Each sword on the boat, it represents their experiences of the past, right? And not only that, but as you see here, the 5 of Swords, which indicates loss or defeat, it comes before the 6 of Swords, right? The 6 of Swords coming after the 5 indicates that this person is this family on the card. They are ready to let go of the past, right? They're ready to let go of the loss. But they still get to take those experiences with them, right? And whatever struggle story you had here in the past is not going to be, you're going to take the lessons from that, but it's not going to be a part of you anymore, right? The only part of that experience from the past is what you learned, right? That's what you're bringing with you. You're not bringing the struggle with you, right? As I see this 5 of Pentacles here, 5 of Swords. Now you have the Moon. Some of you are thinking about, you know what? The Moon, I think in this future position, you had it here in the past. I think that there was somebody that you didn't know about. There was something that happened here that you couldn't see. I think the Moon in this case is more so something connected to spirituality for you. That's what I really feel, right? As you have the star and the Moon, showing up here, and there was like a really spiritual message in this reading. On the bottom, you do have the Emperor. I see that there is success for you. The Emperor is somebody who is very successful in business, somebody who's climbed the ladder, somebody who's at the top of the hill, so to speak. This is somebody who does quite well in business ventures and career areas. It's also somebody who speaks and acts with authority. People respect the Emperor. That's the thing. And I see that that's a part of like where you're going here, as you have this Queen of Wands, and now you have the Emperor here as well. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the Kipper cards for you. And we'll see what's showing up there. All right. All right, you have Coffin. That's the same as the Death card. There's a significant ending that's been going on for you here for a while now. You have Coffin, Child, Toil, and Labor. You have Courtship. You have House. And you have Unexpected Income. On the bottom, you do have Courthouse as well. Okay, so that can be a card of legal situations, of course. I get a sense that this is a bit of a sticky situation here. As I see the Child card, I see Courtship. I see another person involved in this situation. There's maybe even a house involved. And then with Courthouse here, there may be like a divorce proceeding or something like this that may be happening for some of you. Again, if your relationship's good, that's not your message. Okay, so like if your relationship's good, what's going on here is you have had a vision for a long time. As I look at the Child card, that could be your child self, right? You've had a vision for a long time, something that you've wanted to achieve, and through hard work, energy, and effort with the Toil and Labor card, you can make that happen. This may be connected to your house. This may be connected to something else. Some of you are making a decision about a property that you own or you live in. These sorts of things could be going on here for you. But yeah, Virgo, that's where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this reading, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll most certainly be talking to you again soon.